Hello, this is Slates with Combo of Rocks, bringing you another video deck tech of a deck that we built and sold by request. If you're not familiar with us, we make and sell custom budget EDH decks. These decks are light on the budget, so they may not be optimal or competitive, but they're definitely fun and centered around a central theme that you can build on. Today we have Yursi, Fortune's Flame, which is 1 blue-red for a 2/3 legendary creature Efreet with flying. When it attacks, choose a number between 1 and 5, flip that many coins. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each flip you lose, it deals 2 damage to you. If you win 5 or more flips this way, you may cast spells from your hand this turn without paying their mana cost. So yes, this is a coin flip deck. There may be some dice rolling elements as the customer requested a gambling deck, but mostly coin flip here. So let's get into the deck. We have another commander option here in Okon, Eye of Chaos, 4 and a red for a 3/3 legendary Cyclops Berserker. Partners with Zindurl Split, Eye of Wisdom. At the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever your player wins a coin flip, double Okon's power and toughness until end of turn. And the partner here is this guy here. 4 and a blue for a 1/4 homunculus. Partners with Okon, of course. At the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever a player flips a coin, draw a card. Breach is the Blast Maker, another commander option. 1 blue-red for 3/3 legendary Goblin Pirate with Menace. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you can sack an artifact. If you do, flip a coin. When you win the flip, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. When you lose the flip, it deals that much damage to that spell's mana value to any target. We have Mutalith, Vortex Beast, 4 blue-red for a 6/6 mutant beast with trample. When it enters, flip a coin for each opponent you have. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each flip you lose, it deals 3 damage to that player. We have Krark the Thumbless, another commander option here. 1 and a red for a 2/2 legendary Goblin Wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, return that spell to its owner's hand. If you win the flip, copy the spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. It does have partner, so the partner I've chosen is Elagath, Crossroads Augur. 4 blue-blue for a 5/6 legendary Sphinx with flying. Whenever you would scry any number of cards, draw that many cards instead. They're in blue-red. There's lots of ways to scry, so it's just fitting for the deck. Also a good partner for Krark. Squeeze Revenge, 1 blue-red sorcery. Choose a number, flip a coin that many times until you lose a flip. Whichever comes first. If you win all the flips, draw 2 cards for each flip. Stitch in Time, 1 blue-red sorcery. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, take an extra turn after this one. Ral Zarek, 2 blue-red for 4 loyalty Ral. +1, tap target permanent, then untap another target permanent. -2, deals 3 damage to target creature or player. -7, flip 5 coins. Take an extra turn after this one for each coin that comes up heads. Ionize, 1 blue-red instant, counters a spell, then it deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. Summary Dismissal, 2 blue-blue, instant, exile all other spells and counter all other abilities. Netherese Puzzle Ward, 3 and a blue, enchantments on your upkeep. Roll a d4, scry X where X is the result. Whenever you roll a die's highest natural result, draw a card. Chance Encounter, 2 red enchantment. Whenever you flip a coin, put a luck counter on it. On your upkeep, if it has 10 or more luck counters, you win the game. That's hard to do in this deck. Fiery Gambit, 2 and a red for sorcery. Flip a coin until you lose a flip or choose to stop flipping. If you lose a flip, it has no effect. If you win 1 or more flips, it deals 3 damage to target creature. If you win 2 or more flips, it deals 6 damage to each opponent. If you win 3 or more flips, draw 9 cards and untap all lands you control. Impulsive Maneuvers, 2 red enchantment. Whenever a creature attacks, flip a coin. If you win the flip, the next time that creature would deal combat damage this turn, it deals double that damage. If you lose the flip, the next time that creature would deal damage this turn, prevent that damage. Mirror Match, March, 5 and a red enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, flip a coin until you lose a flip. For each flip you won, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. Chaos Warp, 2 and a red instant. The owner of target permanent reveals or shuffles it into their owner's library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent, they put it onto the battlefield, getting rid of a necessary permanent with a little bit of gambling involved. Wand of Wonder, 3 and a red artifact. Pay 4, tap it, roll a d20. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery, then shuffles the rest into their library. You can cast up to X instants or sorceries from among the cards exiled without paying their mana costs. 1 to 9, X is 1. 10 to 19, X is 2. 20, X is 3. Krark's Thumb, 2 mana legendary artifact. If you would flip a coin, instead flip 2 coins and ignore 1. Goblin Liar, 3 mana artifact, pay 0 and sack it. Flip a coin, target opponent calls heads or tails while the coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, Goblin Liar deals star damage to that opponent where star is equal to the number of creatures you control. Otherwise, it deals star damage to you where star is the number of creatures the opponent controls. Bottle of Suleiman, 4 mana artifact, 1 and sack it. Flip a coin, target opponent calls heads or tails in the air. If the flip ends up in the opponent's favor, it deals 5 damage to you. Otherwise, put a 5/5 artifact creature flying to play. Boom Pile, 4 mana artifact, tap, flip a coin. If you win the flip, destroy all non-land permanents. Creepy Doll, 5 mana artifact creature construct. It's a 1/1. It's indestructible. When it deals combat damage to your creature, flip a coin. If you win the flip, destroy that creature. Volatile Rig, 4 mana 4/4 artifact creature construct with trample. It attacks each combat if able. If it deals damage, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, sack it. When it dies, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, it deals 4 damage to each creature and each player. Wirefly Hive, 3 mana artifact, pay 3 and tap it to flip a coin. If you win the flip, put a 2/2 Wirefly artifact creature token with flying into play. If you lose the flip, destroy all Wireflies. Swiftfoot Boots, 2 mana, 1 to equip. Equip creature as hexproof and haste. Into some mana rocks, we have Coalition Relic. Thought Vessel, this one gives us no max hand size, which is great for drawing a bunch of cards. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Is It Signet, Talisman of Creativity, Is It Locket, Firemind Vessel, Worn Power Stone, Navigation Orb, our colorless Cultivate, also allows us to search for gates, Sky Diamond, Fire Diamond, Mind Stone, this one can be sacked, draw a card, Prismatic Lens, taps for colorless or filters a mana into any color, Wayfarer's Bauble, our colorless Rampant Growth, Everflowing Chalice can be kicked for an additional 2 mana. For each time it was kicked, it adds an additional colorless mana. Reality Shift, 1 in a blue instant, exiles a creature, then the creature's controller manifests the top card of their library. Dismiss, 2 blue instant, counters a spell, then draw a card. Whirlwind Denial, 2 in a blue, for each spell and ability your opponents control, counter it unless they pay 4 colorless. Fear of Imposters, 1 blue for a 3/2 enchantment creature Nightmare with Flash. When it enters, counter a spell, and then its controller manifests Dread. Counter spell, 2 blue, counters any spell. Negate, 1 in a blue, counters a non-creature spell. Disdainful Stroke, 1 in a blue, counters a spell with mana value 4 or greater. Power of Persuasion, 2 in a blue sorcery. Choose a creature an opponent controls and roll a d20. 1 through 9, return it to its owner's hands. 10 through 19, put it on top or bottom of its owner's library. 20, gain control of the creature until your next turn. Crazed Firecrat, 5 red for a 4/4 cat. When it comes into play, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Put a 1/1 counter on it for each flip you win. Goblin Trap Runner, 3 in a red for a 4/2 goblin. When it attacks, flip 3 coins. For each flip you win, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. Which works well with Goblin Assassin, 3 red for a 2/2 Goblin Assassin. Whenever it or another goblin comes into play, each player flips a coin. Each player whose coin comes up tails sacrifices a creature. Mog Assassin, 2 in a red for 2/1 goblin. Tap it to flip a coin. If you win the flip, destroy target creature an opponent controls. Otherwise, destroy a creature of that opponent's choice. Goblin Psychopath, 3 in a red for a 5/5 Goblin Mutant. When it attacks or blocks, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, the next time it would deal combat damage this turn, it deals that damage to you instead. Planar Chaos, 2 in a red, enchantment. On your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, sack it. Whenever a player plays a spell, that player flips a coin. If he or she loses the flip, counter that spell. Aleatory, 1 in a red instant, play only after defense is chosen. Flip a coin, target opponent calls heads or tails while it is in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Desperate Gambit, 1 red instant, flip a coin. Target opponent calls heads or tails while it's in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, double the damage dealt by source you control. Otherwise, prevent all damage from that source. Goblin Bang Chuckers, 2 red for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior. Tap it to flip a coin. If you win the flip, it deals 2 damage to a creature or player. If you lose the flip, it deals 2 damage to itself. Molten Birth, 1 red creates 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens and flip a coin. If you win the flip, return it to its owner's hand. Tavern Scoundrel, 1 red for a 1/3 human rogue. Whenever you flip a coin, creates 2 treasure tokens. 1 tap, sack another permanent, flip a coin. Orcish Captain, 1 red for a 1/1 orc. Pay 1, flip a coin. Target opponent calls heads or tails in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, target orc gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Otherwise, that orc gets -2, -0, -2 until end of turn. Goblin Artisans, 1 red for a 1/1 goblin. Tap it. Use this ability only when you cast an artifact and as an interrupt. Flip a coin. Target opponent calls heads or tails while in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, draw a card. Otherwise, counter that artifact spell. And then you can't do it more than once for each artifact spell. Thunder Wave, 2 red, roll a d20, 1 through 9 deals 3 damage to each creature. 10 through 19, you choose a creature, then it deals 3 damage to each creature not chosen, or 20 deals 6 damage to each creature your opponents control. Into some lands, we have Shivan Reef, Sulphur Falls, Ferris Lake, Frostboil Snarl, Temple of Epiphany, Restless Spire, becomes a 2/1 creature with first strike that when it attacks, it scries 1. Is It Boilerworks, Searchland Frost Power, you can pay 2 blue red, tap it and sack it to scry 2 and deal 2 damage to each creature. Swiftwater Cliffs, Prismari Campus, this one you can pay mana to scry. Peculiar Lighthouse, Is It Guildgate, Library, can be tapped and pay some mana to create a clue token. Escape Tunnel, you can sack it to search for a basic land or sack it to give a creature with power 2 or less unblockability. Command Tower, Study Hall, this one allows you to scry for any number of times you cast your commander from the command zone. Then we have some basic lands here, some islands and some mountains. That's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it, but we'll see you next time.